Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt an invisible emptiness? A strange void that gave you the sense they were missing something essential, something you always believed we all had. If you've ever felt this way, it might not just be your imagination. Over a century ago, Edgar Cayce, known as America's most documented psychic, made a mind-bending statement. Not everyone around us possesses a soul. Hearing that, you might instantly wonder, how could that be possible? How can someone exist without the most sacred part of our being, the soul? In today's video, we're going to explore the deeper layers of meaning behind Cayce's controversial statement, and in doing so, perhaps begin to understand some of the chaos we see unfolding in the modern world. If you've ever felt surrounded by people who act without a shred of empathy, who seem void of compassion or conscience, you may be witnessing the very phenomenon Edgar Cayce warned us about. Modern science tries to explain these behaviors through personality disorders and psychological conditions. But what if the truth goes deeper than that? What if some individuals are truly missing that divine spark, the very thing that makes us fully human? In his trance states, Cayce accessed profound spiritual information. In a reading from 1923, he described encountering people who appeared completely normal on the outside, but lacked what he called the celestial imprint. They were like empty vessels moving through life, driven only by base instincts and pre-programmed conditions. This claim ignited significant debate about the very nature of the soul. In the next part, we'll explore how various spiritual traditions have interpreted this phenomenon. And surprisingly, even Catholic priests like Father Gabriele Amorth, a renowned exorcist, reported encountering similar cases in their work. What you'll discover may completely transform the way you perceive those around you. You'll learn to recognize subtle signs of spiritual connection or disconnection, and how to protect your own energy in a world where not everyone shares the same sacred essence. The concept of being soulless extends beyond religion or spirituality. In the realm of psychology and philosophy, similar ideas are discussed in terms of empathy, the invisible bridge that links us to the joy and suffering of others. Thinkers like Aristotle long believed that the soul, or anima, is what makes us truly human, enabling us to rise above selfishness and recognize the inherent value of life. When we meet someone who seems incapable of putting themselves in another's shoes, could it be that something essential within them is absent? Sleep is when our mind and emotions process deeply personal experiences, often revealing glimpses of our true nature. Have you noticed that some people rarely dream, or at least never recall any dreams? Some psychologists believe this might signal a disconnection from the unconscious, possibly reflecting a dormant state of the soul. Carl Jung, with his theory of the collective unconscious, suggested we're all linked to a shared reservoir of human experience. But what happens when someone's connection to that universal rhythm is broken, as if their soul is out of sync with the cosmic harmony? Going deeper, Cayce once stated that individuals showing signs of being soulless weren't necessarily evil. They were simply disconnected from the divine light, often caught in repetitive cycles of negativity through many lifetimes. This brings to mind modern psychological diagnoses like antisocial personality disorder or dissociation, individuals who seem numb to hate or joy alike. It's as if the core of their humanity has been forgotten or fallen into a deep sleep, waiting to be awakened, or perhaps never waking in this lifetime. Many who've had near-death or out-of-body experiences describe glimpses of something beyond the physical. Psychologists like Stanislav Grof, pioneers in transpersonal psychology, dedicated their careers to studying these states, suggesting that human consciousness isn't solely a product of the brain. It's something far deeper, capable of existing independently under certain conditions. This astonishingly aligns with what Cayce accessed in his readings. Have you ever wondered why some people seem completely disconnected from any sense of morality? According to Immanuel Kant, The ability to recognize and act upon moral laws is a direct reflection of the human soul. When someone persistently acts against these universal principles, treating others as tools for manipulation, could it be we're witnessing a soul in deep slumber? Cayce frequently describes such individuals as empty containers, physical beings lacking the divine spark to guide their lives. He emphasized that this disconnection wasn't always permanent, but represented a phase in the soul's journey. Modern science, through studies on consciousness, supports the idea that humans can function automatically, devoid of emotional intuition or moral instinct, suggesting that the relationship between body, mind, and soul is far more complex than we often assume. This leads us to a vital question. How can we explore the concept of soullessness without falling into the trap of dehumanization? History has shown that labeling people as soulless can lead to prejudice, discrimination, even justify atrocities. Despite his provocative statements, Cayce always emphasized compassion. He reminded us, "Judge not, lest you be judged, for even the empty containers may one day awaken to their divine nature." This perspective helps us view the phenomenon differently. A soul may be obscured by trauma, toxic environments, or misguided choices, but its potential for awakening remains. Just as painful experiences can alter gene expression across generations without erasing our DNA, the human soul may be covered, but never destroyed. Stories of lost individuals finding the light are living proof of this truth. Much of what Cayce conveyed from the spirit realm carried a message of hope. Even the darkest souls can return to the light, though it may take many lifetimes and relentless inner effort. So instead of labeling or judging, perhaps Cayce's real message was a warning about the danger of losing our spiritual connection, and a reminder to nurture and protect the spark within each of us on this material journey. In a world increasingly detached from sacred values, taking time to pause, reflect, and connect with our inner being may be the first step in preserving that inner light. Ask yourself, how many minutes each day do you spend nurturing that connection? What would happen if starting today, you gave just 5 minutes of quiet to reach the deepest part of yourself? A year from now, how would your life be different? Could you become a beacon of light in the night of spiritual forgetfulness? And now, as you have gained a basic understanding of the concept of soulless people from Edgar Cayce's perspective, take a moment to look at the world around you again. Think about the people you've encountered, those who made you feel like you were speaking to an empty mirror. No depth, no reflection in their gaze. They might be polite, even intelligent, but something essential is missing. Genuine emotion. People who make you wonder, are they truly present? That feeling isn't random. Cayce once said, there are people who are not entirely soulless, but rather their souls are deeply asleep, buried under layers of desire, selfishness, or darkness accumulated over many lifetimes. The soul is not destroyed, but it can be locked away, temporarily disconnected from the divine self. It's like a lamp that still has a bulb and wires, but the switch has long been turned off. And the light, the spiritual spark, no longer shines outward. They live, eat, and interact, but all of it is like a mechanical response. A part of their humanity has been withdrawn. It is dangerous to live in a society where these empty shells can occupy positions of power, because if there is no soul, or at least no soul actively engaged, what guides them? There's no moral intuition, no compassion, no remorse. Only survival instinct, desire, and manipulation remain. Such people could be CEOs, politicians, even spiritual leaders, if we're not awake enough to see the absence of light in their eyes. Modern spirituality refers to them as empty vessels. And the danger is not just in their existence, but in the fact that they can spread darkness. Like a withered tree that bears no fruit, they tend to pull others down to their frequency. They lower the vibration of the space around them. They cause others to doubt their own inner light. A hollow gaze, an emotionless word, a cold act. Sometimes that alone is enough to awaken in you a doubt about your own humanity. And that, if left unchecked, will begin to erode you slowly. Many people report that after a conversation or a relationship with such individuals, they feel strangely exhausted, as if drained of energy without knowing why. This is not superstition. Energetically, all living beings emit an energy field, also known as an aura. And when two people interact, their fields interlace. If someone lacks an inner light, they may unconsciously siphon energy from others to maintain their hollow existence. This leads to an incredibly important lesson. We must learn to distinguish compassion from naivety. Sometimes we believe we're helping someone who is in pain, when in reality, we're simply supplying energy to a being that has become utterly empty. Not everyone who needs help is someone you should help. Sometimes, the kindest thing you can do is to keep your distance, preserve your energy, and allow them to face their own darkness. Cayce never encouraged exclusion or hatred, but he did warn. Awakening is the first step to preserving your own soul. And in an age where spiritual connection is being replaced by digital connection, awakening is no longer a choice. It is a matter of survival. We no longer live in a world where everyone is born and grows equally in spiritual depth. Deviation, trauma, and loss through many lifetimes have created a human ecosystem with many different soul levels. Some people live with hearts ablaze with love. Others are merely silent shadows, waiting to be awakened. And a few, though rare, have completely severed their link to God, to the light, and exist only through material functioning. So how do you know you're not one of them? You don't need a spiritual test. Just ask yourself, do I feel pain when others are in pain? Have I ever sacrificed something for someone I love? Have I ever sat in silence and felt the presence of something greater than myself? If your answer is yes, then congratulations. That spark is still alive in you. But the existence of light does not mean it will burn forever. It needs care, nurturing, and protection. Through prayer, through meditation, through acts of kindness, through choosing the right people and the right environments. We are living in a war without guns, a battle between light and darkness, between living souls and hollow shells. And the greatest enemy does not lie outside, but in the indifference within each of us. When we begin to accept evil as a normal part of society, when we stop feeling pain at injustice, when we ignore tears, that is when our soul begins to fall asleep. And if we don't awaken in time, we may become one of those soulless people we once feared. But there is hope, always. The light within you, even if just a flicker, can ignite 1,000 other flames. You don't need to awaken the whole world. You just need to keep yourself grounded, live deeply, authentically, and truthfully with your soul. And you will have done more than you realize. Edgar Cayce once said, "No one can save your soul but yourself." But he also emphasized that each soul awakened is a victory for the light. And today, if you are still listening, if your heart still stirs, then you are part of that light. Dear listener, perhaps you never imagined you'd embark on such a strange journey, a journey that doesn't pass through roads, but through the depths of your own soul. But if you've made it this far, if your heart still quietly trembles at each thought, each word, then you are no longer the same person you once were. You have seen the truth, that not everything that walks, talks, or smiles is truly human. You now understand that the soul cannot be faked, and light, even the smallest spark, is enough to drive away an entire sky of darkness. Remember this: no one else can live a soulful life for you. No one can walk your path, forgive in your place, love in your place, or connect to God in your place. It is you, with all your weakness, your wounds, your seemingly flawed past, who is the fertile ground where divine light can plant the seed of new life. The world doesn't need more perfect people. It doesn't need more of the strong, the successful, or the proud. The world needs souls who still know how to cry when they see pain, who still tremble at the word forgiveness, who still fall silent before the beauty of life. Be that person. Be the one who, when you walk into a room, brings a breath of something pure. Be the one others think of when they feel hopeless. Be the one who refuses to let your soul fall asleep in a world being lulled into numbness by comfort, pretense, and illusion. And if you've ever felt out of place, don't be afraid. That's a sign you belong to a higher soul plane. Those who carry true light often feel lonely in a world full of empty shells. But you are not alone. There are millions of souls awakening at this very moment. They're rediscovering truth. They're returning to something they once forgot. I hope that from now on, every time you look in the mirror, you won't just see your own image, but see the divine light reflecting from within. And every time you step out into the world, you'll know that you are not just alive, but truly present, soul and all. Finally, remember this, and carve it into your heart. If you can keep your light alive, then no matter how dark the world gets, you will be the one who leads the way. You may forget many things in life, but please, don't forget this. No one can live for you. No one can breathe for you. No one can love for you. No one can kneel down and pray for you, forgive for you, cry for you, or smile for you. The journey with God, the journey of the soul, is something that cannot be delegated. It is you, with all your cracks, your mistakes, your seemingly irreparable failures, who is the most fertile ground where divine life can begin to take root. Don't wait until you are perfect. Don't wait until you're free of all flaws, because this world doesn't need more flawless people. This world isn't lacking in those who are skilled, strong, or successful. But the world is starving for souls who still know how to listen, who still feel moved, who still bow before the beauty of life, and who are brave enough to cry because of mercy. Be that kind of person. Be the one who, upon entering a room, brings with them a presence that feels pure. No need for many words, no need to impress. Just let your soul truly be there. Be the one that someone in despair thinks of first. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real. Because you live from the soul, not behind the mask the world tries to place upon you. And if there's ever been a time when you felt a cold, aching loneliness, as if you didn't belong in this world, please don't worry. That is not a sign you are lost. It is a sign you are awakening in a world still asleep. Those who carry true light often feel alone among hollow shells, because they're living on a deeper level where pretense can no longer cling. But you are not alone. Even if no one says it out loud, there are millions of souls awakening alongside you. They are beginning to feel beauty again, to seek goodness again, to remember what is true. They are finding their way back to the sacred, something they had once forgotten in the rush of daily life. I hope that starting today, every time you look in the mirror, you won't just see your hair, your eyes, or familiar features, but you will see the sacred light reflecting from within. A quiet light. If this video touched you, Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share this message with someone you believe is also searching for their soul. Because sometimes, one timely word, one small spark, can save an entire life. Thank you for listening. And what about you? Do you believe a soul can fall asleep? Have you ever met a soulless person? Share your thoughts below. I read every comment with deep gratitude.